Hey guys and gals, it's your boy JR, aka Lone Wolf Bushcraft. I hope you guys and gals are all doing well. Today I'm going to talk about survival books. I'm going to talk about this one in particular, When All Hell Breaks Loose by Cody Lundin. And I've talked about this book before, but I'm bringing it up again because I think it's a really cool survival book. And there's the author, Cody Lundin there. So now I'm going to share out this survival book. But anyways, I'm definitely going to recommend it. So if you're in a hurry, I'll just say right here at the start of this live stream, this is definitely a recommended survival book. When All Hell Breaks Loose. I love what it says right here too. Stuff you need to know to survive when disaster strikes. So, yeah, in case people are in a hurry and they're just now seeing this live stream, I'll just tell you right off the bat, go ahead and get the survival book. Yeah, so you have survival books like this by Cody Lundin. Here's another survival book called Surviving the Extremes. There's the author to that book there. And I like all the illustrations on the Surviving the Extremes book. Pretty cool. And then let me show you the other one. This one's a bigger one. It has a variety of authors. So this survival book has a lot of variety of authors, and it's pretty much like a survival manual. But what I really like about this one, shows a lot of different pictures. So yeah, look at that. So it shows a lot of different pictures, which is super cool. Yeah, very, very cool. So yeah, this is like a survival textbook. It's pretty cool. Here's one I've shared that I've made a whole live stream about. How to stay alive in the woods. How to stay alive in the woods. So I did a live stream about that, which was pretty cool. And actually, the time to read these kind of survival books is now. You want to fill yourself in reading these now instead of later. You don't want to read these later. So the time to read survival books is now. Got me some strawberry refresher. Little plug for Starbucks there. It's my favorite refresher, acai tea refresher. So one of the things I liked about Cody Lundin's book, it's got some really cool, look at that. It's got some really cool illustrations. So when he hits various different topics, you're going to remember these characters. And here you go. Don't skip the part of the book, dear ones. Oh, don't skip this part of the book. Introduction and my intention for this book. So right off the bat, the author's asking you to read this introduction. Cody Lundin is. And like I said, what I really appreciate is the illustrations. And oh, look at this. Look, he's got on chapter 1, how to use this book. So it gives you a big clue on how to use the book. Hey, what's up, Deborah? How's it going? So that's pretty cool. So first, once you hit the introduction, and I love this. So I think the main point when he was using these really crazy illustrations, the main point was so you wouldn't forget. So that's the main point. And that's the main reason I'm also recommending this book. Ooh. Then he's got a section where it says flashback, grooving to the feeling of impending doom. So he opens up with a title here, and then so it's pretty cool. And like I said, hey, what's up, Adrian? And he breaks down what's urban survival and suburban survival. So he points out there's a difference between those two different survivals, which is really cool. So, yeah, that's super cool. So, yeah. So he breaks down the difference between urban and suburban survival. And once again, he's got a really cool illustration. And let me show some of these channels here that are coming in here. There's a channel that streams lives. Deborah Orat, she live streams daily. And also Adrian Gibson, he also live streams daily. So both those channels live stream daily. The greatest grief are the curse we can. Oh, wait a minute. The greatest grief are those we cause ourselves. So that's a cool section. Maybe, especially in survival, we can sometimes be our own worst enemy. And nothing endures but change. So, yeah, lots of things can change pretty quickly in a survival situation. So it's got a section on that. Wow, it's got a section on parasites and true parasites. Metaphorical love story. So that's kind of interesting. So when you read this section, you're, hey, what's up? There's Shauna's reviews in the house. I love this. Fear and chaos. Once again, cool illustration about that. And next to the fear and chaos, it's got the most terrifying words in the English language are, I'm from the government and I'm here to help. That's a quote from Ronald Reagan. That's pretty cool. That's neat that's in this survival book. So that's pretty cool. He quoted Ronald Reagan there. That's pretty cool. And once again, here's the author, Cody Lundin. So he's a survival, and he even teaches survival, Cody Lundin does. And he also was on a show with Dave Canterbury, Cody Lundin was. I think it was called Doer Survival was the name of that show. So, so yeah, throughout his book, there's going to be illustrations here. So that's super cool. Let's see what this one says. Happiness is attitude of mind, born of simple determination to be happy under all outward circumstances. And he puts right there who he quoted from there. So that's pretty cool. That's pretty awesome. Oh, yeah, that's cool. Yeah, I've seen some of his TV shows too. Super cool. But yeah, like I said on the outset, the illustrations are pretty cool. And it looks like he's got a few quotes in here that are pretty cool. Thoughts lend on to purposes, and purposes go forth in action, and actions form habits, and habits decide character, and character fixes our destiny. That's a pretty cool quote there. Yeah, that's an awesome quote. So yeah, he's got some really cool quotes. Oh wow, here's a cool section. How fear affects your body. Talks about how fear affects the body, which is really cool. And once again, the name of this book's called When All Hell Breaks Loose, Stuff You Need to Survive When Disaster Strikes. And once again, I can't stress enough that now would be the time to read these survival books. Yeah, you don't want to be reading these when like in the middle of a disaster. You could, but now's the time to really read it. Men fear death as children fear to go in the dark, and as the natural fear in children is increased by tales, so is the other. Sir Francis Bacon. So that's a pretty cool quote there from Sir Francis Bacon. That's pretty cool. Oh, wow. Step right up, folks. The psychological symptoms of fear. And he's got a really cool illustration with that. So that's pretty cool. And so he does, when Cody Lundin wrote this book, he did want to interject some comedy into this survival book. So he's got really quirky characters. He's got really here's chapter 8, the art of creative cooperation and personal responsibility, daring to think for yourself with an open heart. So once again, really cool illustrations, and I like that topic there on chapter 8. And basically, what I got from this author, once again, Cody Lundin is the author. So what I got from him was he didn't want to write just the typical survival book. He really, like I said, he's got really cool illustrations. He also does inject humor in it, and he also injects really cool quotes from people from various different backgrounds. So, oh wow, here's funny. Look at that van. That's pretty funny. I love that. So illustrations like that would be hard to forget. And in that illustration says, be self-reliant, be respectful, keep the peace, and clean up after yourself. So I really love that. So yeah, even if you're in a survival situation, Cody Lundin talks about other things that maybe other survival books don't touch on. So, but I love that he interjects comedy, because some survival books may be a little cut and dry. And I think the point of this one is to keep the person reading. Oh, look, there's even a section on types of groups of decisions. Sometimes during a natural disaster. Now, the cool thing is I've actually had natural disaster training, and it was through my workplace. And we each have a green backpack, and we had various different emergencies in our backpack. And so I would encourage you guys I would definitely encourage you. And then I have a certification for CPR. So it's good to always update your CPR training. It's always good to update first aid training. Yeah, it never hurts to get first aid training, CPR training. And, some places will actually send you some work. And, I work in security. So they wanted me CPR certified, and then they also wanted me. Sent me on this extra training where it covered a gambit of stuff of looking through houses that may have collapsed, and CERT, that was the name of the training. So it was a CERT training that I went to, and it was really cool. CERT's really cool. And like I said, you have a green backpack that has a variety of emergency stuff in it. and then they show you how to use everything in your backpack. So, but yeah, some of these illustrations are hilarious in this particular survival book, and you'll never forget it. But yeah, I love. And then the other thing I would encourage you to do is to watch that, especially if you can jump on live stream or even jump on YouTube. Click on a few Dual Survivor. Click on a few Dual Survivor tips. Oh, and now this one's cool for emergency signaling. Everyone, well, I don't know if everybody's seen it, but you take these basic glow sticks and you put it on a string, and you can make a pretty large circle, and that's to notify, signal where your location's at. So that's pretty cool. And then there's a little bit section on fire there. Oh, wow, look. There's the author right there. It's got a section on getting out of Dodge cheaply, so that's pretty cool. Looks like he shows how to make a makeshift backpack really quick with emergency supplies, so it's pretty cool. But yeah, if you get a chance to watch Dual Survivor, what they do is they pick scenarios where stuff had happened to people, and they try to show how they would tackle that survival situation, which is really cool. Hey, Sam, how's it going? I'm just showing off my book here. It's a survival book by Cody Lundin, and it says, "When all hell breaks loose, stuff you need to survive when disaster strikes." And then there's the author right there. I'm going to show off some of these channels because I appreciated them showing up to my live stream here. So let me show off some of these channels. So once again, my name's JR, aka Lone Wolf Bushcraft. I'm part of the YT community that has Australians in it. It has Peruvians in it. It has people from the Philippines. And it's a really cool YT community. And some of these channels are coming in saying, hey, I'm me during my live stream, which is super cool. I'm going to put on the clipboard. I didn't get to do that. Let me share this out. Whoops, wait a minute. Hold on. Wait a minute. Yeah, I realized I hadn't put this on the clipboard here. So I copied it to the clipboard, and I'm going to put it in the chat. And I didn't get to do that. Normally, I remember to do that earlier. So yeah, let me put that in the chat here. Yeah, normally I put it right on the clipboard, but I didn't do it this time. Boop. There we go. Oh, cool. So it's on the clipboard. It's in the chat. That's in case anybody wants to come up. So, yeah. And like I said earlier, this is this particular survival book. It'll make you laugh. You'll laugh big time. People are saying hi to each other in the chat. Anyways, what I love about this particular survival book, you'll laugh, you'll learn some survival, and you'll definitely laugh because it's got really, oh wow, it's got a section on chapter 18. Crucially, creative cooking. So that's pretty cool. And let me show another one. I really love these illustrations. Look at those illustrations. And like I said, when he first wrote this book, it was mainly, he noticed a lot of survival books. There was nothing wrong with survival books because they were very technical. But his approach to the survival was so you wouldn't forget it. And that's why he did these really crazy illustrations. So that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. Let me look at another section here for you guys. Oh, cool. Savvy yet simple, significant substitute sanitation. So he's got a whole chapter on sanitation, stuff that maybe some of the other survival books might have not hit on. So that's pretty cool. So that's pretty cool. So yeah, what's for dinner probably gives a variety of ideas of what you can fix while you're surviving out there. I like what one person said, especially when you're stocking up your pantry. In my pantry, I stock up with a lot of canned goods, but it's stuff that I like to eat. Like I have a lot of chilies, I have a lot of soups, but it's stuff that I like to eat. So if you're going to stock up on, make sure you stock on food that you actually enjoy eating, because you may have to eat it for a while, especially if you're in a survival situation. But like I said at the start of this live stream, I definitely, because I didn't know if people were in a hurry when they first started watching this live stream. Once again, this is a definitely recommend book by Cody Lundin. So when all hell breaks loose, definitely good survival book. Now the textbook, oh my God, this textbook's cool because it covers various different situations. It covers fire building, how to build a shelter, different ways to procure food during a survival situation. Here's a whole section on tools and equipment. That's pretty cool. Now this feels like an actual survival manual, and like let's see. Yeah, there are the various different authors right there. But this is like a huge survival. Now this has got some weight to it. This survival manual, and then this is a little bit lighter, but it's really funny. So I think, I mean, obviously, I like a variety of different. Like this survival book focuses specifically on surviving the extremes in survival. This particular, and this guy's a doctor who wrote this survival book. So this is invaluable. And since I'm big time in northern Indiana and like to be in the woods, I like how to stay alive in the woods. That's pretty cool. I think the difference between bushcrafting and survival, they kind of overlap. Like in bushcrafting and survival, you know how to make shelters. But I think that the attitude of bushcrafting is try to thrive out in the woods, not just survive. But there's nothing wrong with survival attitude too, because it's usually a super emergency situation. And look, here's a whole section on fire, on how to build a fire. And then this is from a little bit bulkier survival book. But there's other survival books I've gotten that's almost like pocket size. So anyways, I love that picture. And you definitely have to practice. The nice thing I like about bushcrafting, I'm always, look at this. It talks about how to build a shelter if you're in a snow situation. So that's pretty cool. Now this is cool. I want to show you guys a picture I saw. I think it was a hammock. The guy had there you go. I love this picture of this hammock. And I have a couple of hammocks. What's neat about a hammock or being able to hang a hammock between two trees, you're getting yourself off the ground. In any survival situation, even if you make a shelter, like let's say I didn't have a blanket to put under myself, What I'm going to want to do is get all kinds of brush and really pack it, or get all kinds of spruce if there's spruce in the area. Gather as much spruce as I can, almost make like a bed. And what you're doing, you're creating a hole, and you want to stack it as high as you can when you're making your kind of natural bedding with spruce, or even if you're making it with a lot of leaves. You may be in a dry area where you can gather up a bunch of leaves, but the whole point is to pack it as high as you can, and that way when your body lays on it and compresses it down, there's still plenty of leaves or spruce between you and the ground. Because the bad thing about laying on the ground directly, the ground will suck your heat from your body, and you'll get cold really quick. But yeah, so it's not enough to just build a shelter. You want to make yourself a nice, good, thick bedding, so that way the ground's not sucking the heat from your body. So that's a tip. And how did I learn that tip? I learned it from survival books. I also learned it from watching survival shows. So yeah, definitely read these survivor books now. Read them right now. And then watch as many survival shows as you possibly can. I love watching the show Alone because it shows the natural human reaction to surviving out in terrain. The reason I love the show Alone is they put them in various different climates. Sometimes they put them in Canada. Sometimes they've been in Colombia. So some of the climates are snowy. Some are woodsy. And and then not only do you have to contend with the elements or the change of the weather, sometimes you have to contend with animals that are in the area. So I think this extreme survival touches on that when you're dealing with various different animals in the area. So, the main tip I heard when you're camping, particularly in a wilderness area, is you don't want to eat at your base camp. Base camp is your main tent area, your fire. You want to probably go maybe 2 or 3 miles away from your base camp. Or if you don't want to go that far, at least go a mile away from your base camp and cook and eat there. So you want to totally cook and eat in a total separate place from where you're going to sleep that night. And then, eat away from your base camp. And the thought is you won't attract animals. Animals may still come into your base camp, but if you're cooking and eating exactly where you're sleeping that night, you're probably going to get visited by some animals, even though you don't want to be visited by them. So yeah. But yeah, the time to read these kind of books. So far I've enjoyed this book, How to Stay Alive in the Woods. It talks about some of the early times of maybe what some of our relatives did that they did in their everyday lives that we don't do now. So I want to say in the 1950s, camping was really big in the 1950s. And even in the 60s and 70s, because I grew up in the 70s and 80s, and my dad took me camping a lot. So, and there's nothing like, I've been camping on my own, and what's funny is I did camping in Brown County, Indiana, and even though I was camping by myself, there were people not that far from my campsite. So I didn't feel like I was camping by myself, which is hilarious. Where there's some people, one of the channels I follow on YouTube, his name is Nut and Fancy. And he really goes off the beaten track. I mean, he tracks like 80 miles off the trail, but he's also got a GPS. His family knows exactly where he's going to camp at. And he's got one of those GPS things he can press in the case of emergency. But anyways, he camps about 80 miles off the trail, and he goes to this nice lake that he likes to chill out and set up camp. Sometimes he will bring a little extra items like a chair, kind of a small folding chair. He'll bring some extra food items if he really wants to eat good at his campsite. And if there's fishing available, he'll bring some fishing gear and catch some fish and cook fish. So, but the neat thing about camping, now there's a difference between car camping and, camping and you're going to go trek into the woods. So, but any kind of camping, regardless of whether you do car camping or whether you hike for a little bit and then hike off the trail and then go set up a camp, just make sure your family knows where you're at. Make sure you tell your family exactly where you're going. And so that way, if you don't, and let your family know exactly when you're going to return back home. So that way, if for some reason you had an emergency and you hadn't been back at the time you said you would, they would know the very first place to go look for you for. So yeah, you want to make sure you do that. But yeah, I can't stress enough. I'm pretty sure, especially those of you who've not read a survival book, I'm pretty sure you're going to enjoy Cody Lundin's book. So far, I'm enjoying it. So, and then this one by this doctor is cool because he actually picks different surviving extremes people have had to survive in. So this is a recommend as well. I'd probably read these first because they're a little smaller to digest, these kind of books. And then, after read, and this one's even better because it's more throw it in the pack friendly. So yeah, even if you go camping and you want some reading material, these are fun. These are cool. And then, of course, you can graduate to these kinds. What I love about this one is I love the, there. In this particular book, it's got a whole thing on campcraft, so that's pretty cool. And I love the pictures. So yeah, before you buy all a bunch of gear, before you go camping, make sure you can buy some pretty inexpensive gear. Oh, now here's an important one. Navigation and signaling. So, yeah, I was shocked how many people go missing in major national parks. And sometimes they're not that far off the trail, so that's really scary. So I like this one. Shows a little, right, this one shows a kit there. Different kit you can make. So, oh, look. There you go. Various different ways to heat up your food, which is cool. But yeah, I would definitely encourage people. And then, look, it's got shows a variety of different tents you can get, which is super cool. Every time I've gone camping, I've always had a good time. Of course, when I'm going camping, it's usually car camping. Hey, what's up, Jerry boy? So when I go car camping, I'm able to pack my favorite tents in there. I have a variety of different tents, 2-person tents, 3, 4, 5-person tents. The reason I get that size is, and usually how the tent size go, if it says it's a 2-person tent, it's probably really nicer for a 1-person. And then a 1-person tent, sometimes you can get your gear in there and sometimes you can't. But 2-person tents, you should be able to get yourself in there and also leave your gear inside with you. And then 3-person tent is a little bit more luxurious. So a 3-person tent is probably good for 2 people. 4-person tent is probably good for 3 people. 5-person tent is good for 4 people. And if you see a pattern, like if it says it's 7-person tent, 6 or 5 people will probably be comfortable in that. If you pack in 7 people in a 7-person tent, you better hope they're your closest friends in the world because you're really going to be stacked in there. So But like I said, even though I camp by myself a lot, I usually grab a 2 or 3 person tent. Mainly because not only do I want to throw myself in the tent, but I also want to throw all my gear in the tent. So, but anyways, I'm going to wrap this up. I'm going to show off people's comments here. Is my way of thanking the channels for coming in here. You guys and gals rock. This channel right here does live stream daily. Deborah Orat, Adrian Gibson, he live streams a lot. I try to do this at the end of every one of my live streams. I try to show off people's comments before I close out the live stream. So I want to thank every one of these channels for coming in here and hollering at me and also saying hi to each other. And once again, my name is JR, aka Lone Wolf Bushcraft. If you like the content you see on the Lone Wolf Bushcraft channel, please like and subscribe. Make sure you hit that notification bell so that way every time I upload a new video, you'll get to see that video right away. You'll get a notification. Same thing whenever I go live stream, you'll get a notification about me going live. So anyways, hope you guys and gals are all doing well out there, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Take care, everyone. Cheers. Peace. Later, Gators. Once again, thanks for everyone down in the chat for coming to the live stream. And for those who end up rewatching this live stream, I hope you enjoyed as well. And I'll talk to you guys later. Peace. Take care, everyone. Later, Gators. Take care, everybody.